Okay, so today I'm going to show you guys, but we're going to go over what it is, why you do not want to be average. So I'm going to share my screen here. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a quick story to start everything here. Okay, so you guys all know Kodak, right? The company Kodak. Everyone's heard of Kodak. Okay, so in 1979. Two young inventors at Kodak created something the world had never seen before, the first digital camera. So think about that. The first digital camera came out in 1979. It was clunky. It was the size of a toaster, but it worked. It was a camera that required no film. And at the time, it was revolutionary, obviously being 1979. Now, this a technology that could have made Kodak the most dominant photography company for the next 50 years. They brought it to the next executives, the executives with excitement. The executives looked at it, played with it, and then said, "Neat idea. Don't tell anyone." Kodak was at the time making billions selling film and cameras, billions printing photos, billions in chemical systems, digital cameras. They said would cannibalize their core business. So they shelved it. So let me put it this way, they invented the future and then they buried it. They thought they had time. They thought their brand was untouchable. They thought being good was enough, and their vision was average in urgency, average in their appetite to compete. While this was happening, their competitors, Sony, Canon, Fuji, Panasonic, and countless others saw the opportunity Kodak ignored and sprinted by the early 2000s. So think about this. They invented this in 1979. By the early 2000s, Kodak went from a $30 billion powerhouse to bankruptcy. An empire brought to its knees because they chose comfort over competition, they chose familiarity over excellence, and they chose to stay average when they were sitting on greatness. Think about that. They were the largest camera company at the time. They didn't lose because others were better. They lost because they refused to stop being average. So this is the kind of the cost of what them being average was. $50 million in lost patents, $30 billion in lost valuation, and 145,000 jobs, and an entire global brand gone. Okay. So, average, even for a massive company, can kill you. Okay. So, we'll talk about a couple things here. So, there's obviously your comfort zone, right? It's where you feel secure, provides a sense of safety and predictability, and then obviously it's the film familiarity, right? False sense of security, make it easy to avoid change, all that type of stuff, right? So again, this is just how big they were. Again, how big Kodak was. $30 billion dollars. They were a global brand, 145,000 employees. We already kind of went over this. So all these different companies
Hey,
innovate. So
Cam,
all these different companies innovate. What do you say? What do you say?
when did they go out?
Kodak when they went
Yeah,
bankrupt.
did it
When they
say?
went bankrupt, not
Yeah,
say exactly when they
like
went
what year?
bankrupt. Not say exactly when they went bankrupt. Dude,
When
I
were
can
they
hear myself
evaluated?
talk. Dude, I can hear myself talk.
You can.
It's echoing.
It's echoing here too.
One of you guys in
It's
the same
echo,
car
echo,
has to
echo.
turn down the volume. Then you can ask the question.
The volume's down.
Okay. So what I mean, we can look it up real quick. But Kodak, they were like the big thing. They really they made the original camera, that for like the handheld camera. Okay. Let me see. Just to answer the question.
It's
2012.
not a big deal. I didn't know if you mentioned
2012.
when they
2012.
January 19th, 2012.
Okay,
and
cool.
when were they
So
evaluated at the
at the highest, at the highest,
Yeah.
they were valuated at, I love hearing myself continue to speak over myself, $30 billion. $30 billion. This is how much debt they had at bankruptcy. 6.8 billion. Okay. So this is the real cost of being average. Okay. So you're going to lose a lot of time. Let's go over the time aspect of being average. Okay. So let's say over the next 10 years, you're average. That's 10 years of money not invested. That's 10 years of not building your business, 10 years of skill set lost. Okay. Again, let's go to the money, goes to the time. Time and money kind of go together, right? Now you've lost. Let's just talk about Warren Buffett here, okay? So Warren Buffett, right? He made most of his money in, I believe, in his 50s, right, and on. But what people don't ever talk about with Warren Buffett is that he was a millionaire by 28, okay? But he needed that time early on to build that wealth, right? To get that 15, I think he averages 22% a year, actually, 22%. So 22% over 60, 70 years is a crazy amount of money. But if he didn't get that money early on, he didn't build that skill set early on, he wouldn't have created that money later on. Okay? Because he decided to just buckle down, make money. Because at some point he wasn't making all his money through just real estate and investments. He actually had to go out and build a skill set that made him money. Okay. And then the other thing is obviously lost momentum. Average actions create a stagnant environment where progress stalls without urgency or ambition. So you should always have ambition and urgency. Okay. And the question you always have to ask yourself is what happens? It shouldn't be what happens if I fail. It should be what happens if I don't do it. And every person ever, when you ask them on their deathbed, you should look this up because there's a really interesting studies on this. Every person, when you ask them on their deathbed anything about their life, they never talk about what they did do. They talk about what they didn't. Okay? I wish I had tried harder at this. You talk to college athletes, right? And you ask them, well, what could you have done better? I wish I tried harder. You talk to any of you guys play a college sport, right? Or a high school sport, right? They always say, I wish I tried harder. I wish I worked out harder. I wish I did this, right? It's always that they wish they did it a little bit harder because it's instead of what should have been turns into what could have been. Okay. So kind of give you guys some real world examples for this. Okay. So unmade calls, missed opportunities. You're never going to be able to get to where you want to go if you're not making the calls. I talked to a guy yesterday with Fred, and one of the things the guy said he did $15,000 yesterday. $15,000. And he told me that he got up at 6 a.m. Mountain Standard Time and he went to bed or he was done dialing. By the way, he dialed the entire day, would roll into appointments, was done dialing at Hawaii Standard Time, like at 9 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time. Think about that. So he worked like 15 hours. But everyone sees the results, no one sees the work. Like literally just ate and drank water and didn't work out, and that was what he did the whole day. Fred, you heard that same thing, right? That's what he said yesterday?
Yep.
15,000 in a day. And one thing he said is like, I work 4 days a week. Writes a crap ton of business. He made $700,000 last year. Most of it was on his personal pen. Okay. But what he does is on those days he works, he's not average. He's putting 12, 15-hour day in. Okay. And so I think what happens, right, is where we kind of going into the last week's workshop is we spend a lot of time on the wrong things, right? Or we're like, oh, it's going to take us this much time to do said thing, right? When it really doesn't take that long to do said thing. Or we're focused on the wrong things, right? And so, a lot of times people will be like, oh, this is so much work I have to do. You know why it feels like a lot of work? Because when you're at a 40-hour work week job, most jobs, not all, but most jobs, unless you're working medical or you're working a blue collar job, most of those jobs, you're working 2 hours a day max. But they tell you the 40 hours. Okay, so when you come into this, you're not even used to working a real 40 hours. So it feels when you work 3 hours in a day, you feel like, oh man, I did a lot, but you didn't really do that much. You see what I'm saying? So again, unmade calls, unconfirmed sits, delays in confirming your meetings, sending out your text, learning your skill set's another one. Okay, timely responses to people. If someone's interested, right, and they're like, oh, I really can't meet, or I can meet Friday night at 9 p.m. and you don't have anything at Friday night at 9 p.m., maybe, just maybe, you go meet them with Friday night at 9 p.m. It's going to take you 30 minutes. You're in and out of the app. Are you going to be mad at yourself for making $1,000 and then you go back to watch a movie with your family? Okay. So get out of your comfort zone, stagnation, comfort, all that type of stuff. That's not where you want to be ever, 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 ever. Okay. Because it's uncomfortable to grow. But guess what? Your comfort zone, the great thing about as you grow in your career, your comfort zone becomes higher as you grow. So for example, I think Nick did a workshop on this a while ago about how your floor and your ceiling, right? And then you go push to that ceiling and now all of a sudden that ceiling's your floor. It's kind of like a high rise, right? And all of a sudden you're on floor 3 or floor 2 and then all of a sudden that ceiling, right, is now a higher ceiling and your floor is lower, right? And then you just keep going up that. And all of a sudden that comfort zone is where you used to be uncomfortable, right? The great story with the Spartans, what they used to do with them is they would like put these kids in like the most stressful situations, okay? And when they were like little, because they pulled Spartans out like 8 years old, and they would like be like, oh yeah, we're gonna crazy examples, but they'd be like, oh, we're gonna kill your family and we're gonna do this if you don't do this. And by the time these kids were 16, 17, 18 years old, they had seen so much stress in their life that like literally going to war was just like it was just like an everyday Tuesday for them because they worked their way up. And that's part of being successful. It's not just like the money and the skill set. It's also about learning how to handle stress at an extremely high level. Hormozy talks about this if you guys ever want to look that up. Okay? So discomfort paves the way for the true reward, right? Any sort of high level of success, something has to go on the altar of sacrifice, whether it's your work, whether it's your comfort, whether it's time with family and friends, right? And by the way, if your family and friends, and I do mean this, if your family and friends don't see that vision and they laugh at what you think you're talking about, oh yeah, that insurance thing, it's stupid, or that idea, or you want to be a multimillionaire, and they just laugh and push it off, they're not my friend anymore. And I do mean that. I don't have a lot of friends who, actually, all my friends who don't think like that, I don't talk to them. And it's a tough conversation, but you become your 5 closest people you hang around. Okay? And I've said this to multiple of you guys. Be careful who you hang around. You are guilty by association. Oh, I think I clicked the wrong thing. My bad. Let me go back. So standard, right? So you need to have urgency. So urgency is essential for driving action. Timely decisions lead to progress, while hesitation often results in missed opportunities. So let's start with urgency here, right? You're better off to make a decision and find out it's the wrong one and then be able to go back and make another decision. That's what separates great people from okay people. Okay, they made decisions faster. So if, like for example, you look at the greatest generals in war, right? They made a mistake where they put their cavalry, but they're quickly making another decision to fix that mistake. You're better off to make 6 decisions and 5 of them be bad than make 0 decisions. You have nothing to go off of. Nick, what were you gonna say?
Before I say it, am I still echoing?
No,
No,
no.
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 Okay, cool. So there's a coach that I follow. His name is Ben Newman, and he's a performance coach. He works with very high level entrepreneurs. And he also works with some NFL teams, college football teams. And he has this thing he talks about. It just reminded me seeing the standard. It's called standard over feelings. And it's a cool concept. And he teaches it to people who are making, millions and millions of dollars a year, and it's effective. And how it goes is you have to have a standard that you operate by, like an operating system. And if you don't have that standard, you're going to make decisions based off of how you feel. So, just something to kind of take a self inventory on. If you guys want to use this, adopt this concept, as you're making decisions and throughout your days, ask yourself: is this a decision that bumps up or supports the standard of how I want to operate and the things that I want to do in my life and the goals that I have? Does this decision support the standard, or does it support my feelings? Does it support how I feel? So, like, I mean, that going back to the guy who made $15,000 in a day, that guy has fucking standards. That guy works 4 days a week, and he works 15 hours a day. If he got a phone call from one of his buddies and wanted to go golfing on a Tuesday when he's supposed to work 15-hour days, I guarantee you he's not going golfing. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of elaborate on that, because you're talking about, the standard right now, standard over feelings. It's a good concept. And it's something that we can all take self-inventory on and ask ourselves as we're going about our day: is this decision part of, like, does it support how I feel right now, or does it support the standard based off of that I've created, based off of the goals and things and desires that I want in my life? So I just wanted to touch on that really quick.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I'd mute up. Okay, there, he's muted up. Okay, perfect. So to kind of just piggyback off what he just said, right? If you're like, there's going to be days in a month, days in a week, hours in a day where you don't feel like doing the thing. Okay, that happens to all of us. It happens to me. It happens to Nick. Happens to Fred. Happens to Troy. All of us, right? And if you just respond to those, right, and you're always in a place of reaction versus being proactive, right, versus reactive, right? So if you're proactive and knowing, okay, no matter how I feel, I'm gonna do this thing, outside of like being half dead or you're really, 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 really sick, which is, by the way, such a small percentage of the time, right? But if it's just like, oh, I just feel a little bit tired. Guess what? You're gonna feel a bit tired some days. Oh, I just not feeling. I'm in my head today. You know what? There's days that's gonna happen. You need to go out and do the thing, okay? And like he said, the standard, right, of setting that standard as well is, there's sometimes the season of no. Like he said, if someone's like, oh, I want to go golfing at this time, you say, nope, I've got to get this done, okay? I think oftentimes we get so caught up in these little distractions. We want to do this thing, this thing, this thing. And all of a sudden, you're 10 years down the road and you haven't really accomplished any of what you set out to do, because you never had that standard, or you had the standard and you didn't follow it. Because the standard is the minimum that I'm going to do. And if your minimum is as someone else's maximum, that's how you win. Okay. So look at like an average person, what their minimum and their maximum is. A lot of times, oh, I can't go to the gym. I don't have time. You definitely have time in a day to go to the gym. Oh, I can't do this. I can't do that. A lot of the things, if you go back to a lot of our other workshops where you schedule things, right? You can get a lot done in the day if you actually schedule them. Okay. So I appreciate that, Nick. Execution. You guys need to execute things that you say you're going to do. If I'm going to do these things, I'm going to execute them. Okay. I'm going to do them when I need to do them. And like, I think I did this workshop or I did it with Jim before, and I gave him a kitchen timer. And if you need to sit there for 45 minutes and you don't do anything until that kitchen timer is at 45 minutes, and that's what you need to do. Okay. And the other thing is pressure. Pressure is a privilege. Okay. When you start getting to that next level, you're going to feel a little bit of pressure. Oh man, a little bit worried. Oh my God, this, you know what I mean? It feels like a lot, right? Pressure is a privilege. If you're doing that, that means you're on the right path. You're on the right path. It's kind of like the first few times you go to work out. Good Lord. Anyone ever done a leg day after not doing a leg day in a while? Holy God, it feels like you just went to war and back. I mean, those legs are hurting for a week. But then the second time you do it a little bit easier. The second, third time you do it a little bit easier. And then after a month of doing it, it's like, all right, I'm just doing leg day. And the only way it hurts more is if you really, really, really go super, super duper hard, which again, now you're back to, executing at a high level. You're raising your standard. Okay. But it's never going to hurt as bad as the first time. I'll tell you one thing. You squat after not squatting after a while, that is very uncomfortable. Okay. Excellence requires discomfort. Growth is often, like we had talked about before, growth is often accompanied by discomfort, and pressure refines your abilities. Okay, so you're going to get a little bit discomfort, and then you're going to build that pressure. Pressure helps refine your abilities. Okay, like we had talked about last week. Remember, trying to figure out the exact law. There was two different laws. Does anyone remember the second law I talked about? Because my brain is not the Pareto principle, the Parkinson's law. That's what it was. Parkinson's law, right? Pre Oftentimes when we get that pressure, we're able to really focus and get things done, right? It's funny, the best nation for all of us isn't all these other places. The best nation is procrastination because that builds pressure and then you get things done faster. And you wouldn't have to procrastinate if you understood Parkinson's law and you got things done when you were supposed to get it done. Okay? So again, the danger is that average decisions are going to lead to your missed opportunities. Again, Gary, Jim, Troy, anyone, if you don't make those decisions now, right? I've heard a couple of you guys, man, I wish I was we're at 28. First of all, there's people I look at, I'm like, man, I wish I was there at their age, or right? There's always that next thing, right? But if you're average now, right, and you're looking to like, oh man, I want to do this, right? Some of you guys, like, your goal is to just make $10,000 in a month, right? If you're average and you don't make those decisions and don't put the time in, and guess what? It's going to suck. You're going to have to embrace the suck. Okay? You'll never get to that guy who's able to make $10,000 in 6 hours. It never happens. Okay? So, this is my last message for you guys, especially going into this holiday tournament. I want you guys to compete, okay? Just get out of your comfort zone. Compete with all these other people. You should want to win. Compete with yourself. Execute all those things you say you're going to do the week. Oh, I'm going to make this many calls. I'm going to get up at this time. I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to do that thing. Do it. List them out. Should only be 3 to 5 things. Those 3 to 5 things are the things you're going to do every single day. No if, ands, or buts, right? And then set a high level of standards for yourself. Okay? Set those standards that are higher than they currently are, right? There's a great quote, right? Your dream should always exceed your current capacity to achieve them. Okay? Your dream should always exceed your current capacity to achieve them. All right? So if you want to excel, right? You want to execute, you want to compete, right? Make your standard higher. Do the thing you say you're going to do. If I'm going to do 200 dials, I don't really care if you on here talking and you go to hang out with your friends or whatever. But if you say you're going to do 200 dials, then do 200 dials. If you say you're going to set 5 appointments, then do 5 appointments. Oh, well, I don't have enough hours in a day. That's not true. Just get leads, and we can help you get leads in different time zones. We can help you get leads in Central Standard Time, Mountain Standard Time, Pacific Standard Time. There's no excuse. You can set the amount of appointments you want to set. It's just that it's uncomfortable. It sucks. It's not fun. It's also not fun? Sucking. Sucking's not fun. Being poor is not fun. Feeling stressed is not fun. I'd rather feel stressed because I'm on my way to success than stressed because I didn't do the things I'm not supposed to do or didn't do the things I'm supposed to do. Okay? So I want to see for the rest of the month some like killer instincts.